All right, welcome to our last session of Building Bookworms. If you watched the previous 3 sessions, thank you for sticking with us and finishing this out. If this is your first time watching one of these, just know that there are 3 previous sessions that kind of lead up to this one. The first one really went into the foundation of early literacy. The second one dove deep into reading and writing. And then our last session really got into singing and talking. This fourth session here is going to really focus in on playing and how that develops early literacy. But I do just want to say, if you're just jumping into this one, it's okay if you didn't watch the previous ones. You're definitely still going to get something out of this. We're happy you're here with us, okay? I do just also want to mention, these workshops have been so much fun for me. I've mentioned before, early literacy development, early childhood development, it's really become a passion of mine. And so I've really enjoyed doing this. So I hope that you all have gotten some out of these workshops. And I'm ready to jump into this one. I'm ready to get in. All right. So just to introduce ourselves, my name is Kelly. I am the supervisor for the Early Childhood Outreach Team. And I'm very excited because, again, I have my colleague with me, Lisa. She's a youth specialist here at the St. Louis Public Library as well, who has a wealth of knowledge. So I'm excited for you guys to learn from her as well. So just to kind of summarize, in the past 3 sessions, we've gone over the 6 early literacy skills. We've gone over reading and writing. We've gone over singing and talking. Every child ready to read. It's the framework that we follow to build those early literacy skills. And so it includes those 5 practices there. So tonight's session is going to really focus on playing. We're going to talk about different types of play, how that can build literacy skills. Now, our running theme here is that you and your children are probably already doing some of the things that we talk about. But remember, we want to just be a little more intentional. We want to take it just a step further so we can be sure that we're building those literacy and language skills. And then at the end, we want to share some really good resources with you all and show you some of the wonderful things that the library offers as well. So I'm going to hand it off to Lisa. We're going to get into the objectives for tonight's session. So Lisa, it is up to you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's Lisa Liefeld again. So glad to see everybody again. Again, I'm a youth specialist at the Central Library downtown. I work in the Children's Library and a colleague of Kelly Carter. And we're glad to welcome you back to our 4th session on building baby bookworms. And today we're going to be looking at how play supports early literacy. And then we're going to be looking at some resources. So I hope you enjoy it. And let's look at our objectives for today. So our objectives are that by the end of the presentation, you will be able to identify 3 ways play supports early literacy and be able to describe 3 ways to use literacy at home. And again, as we've started off with our 4 sessions, we begin with what you're probably already doing at home to support play. And one of the things we can first look at is, does your child play dress up? Do you pretend play with your child? And do you have fun playing with your child? All of these are ways to support early literacy. So affirm yourself for what you probably are already doing. So first of all, let's look at how does pretend play support early literacy. Well, when children play firefighters or pirates, going to the vet, or other play scripts like playing with their baby dolls, playing post office, all of these types of play encourage imaginative language. So they're likely to use language that they don't use in ordinary conversations with you. And in the past session, we looked at language within the course of routines. And that's really important. But play brings out this very, very special imaginative language. So when your child uses a block for a train, or a stick for a magic wand, They are using these as symbols for the real thing. Again, a block stands for the real thing, like a train, or a stick stands for a magic wand. So these things are what we call symbolic representation, a very critical component of early literacy. So symbolic representation again means that children use objects, pretend objects, to stand for real things. Now, how does this relate to reading? Well, words, like pretend play objects, are also symbols. Words are symbols for real things. So play supports this foundational aspect of symbolic representation. And again, you can think of using a towel. A towel can stand for a cape. You can use different kinds of hats at home to stand for hats of imaginary figures. And you can use a simple box. Boxes are a great resource for children. They're readily available in family homes. And again, a box can be a caboose on a train. It can be a crib for a baby. All different ways that you can just take ordinary things in your house to help children use imaginative play. So again, when we think about entering into children's play, if your child invites you to join in, but be sure to follow their lead. As we talked before and Kelly's talked about, it's important when you're reading books to children that you follow their lead. When you're having conversations with your child, that you follow their lead. Again, children have so much to tell us, and if we listen and talk with them, they're going to be more motivated to talk. Again, building their vocabulary and reading comprehension. If your child is stuck, it's perfectly fine to give them another play idea, and you can also use questions to help expand children's play. So one important play strategy is ABC play. So how does ABC play support early literacy? First, it helps with letter recognition. ABC play helps children identify and name the letters of the alphabet, both uppercase and lowercase. And certainly very important is letter sounds. As we've talked about through all the presentations, children need to be able to recognize and manipulate the sounds and words. And so ABC play helps focus children on the sounds each letter makes. How exciting is that? And then ABC play helps with word association. So after children have identified the sounds that each letter makes, then they move on to learning how we associate letters with words. Oh, there's so many different kinds of ABC play. And if you Google ABC play, you will see all kinds of things that come up on the internet, many of them good. But of course, ABC books. And of course, we didn't mention this the last time, that the ABC song. And the ABC song, as we know it, we sing it slowly for children, and then they're able to really identify the sound of that letter. ABC blocks are great. ABC magnetic letters. Sometimes families have those up on their refrigerator, and then children can spell their name, the name of the family dog. They might write up with the magnetic letters what they're going to get at the grocery store. ABC puzzles are another wonderful resource. And as with all of these, when children are manipulating the magnetic letters or the puzzles or the blocks, whenever you have action and you assign it to a word, it builds language connections in the brain. You can also play I spy something with the letter. For example, if you're taking a walk outdoors, you might say, I spy something with the letter T. And then they can maybe identify a tree. Or I spy an animal that starts with an S. And then they could identify a squirrel. Or a bee. I spy something with the letter B for bunny. Again, you can make this fit into whatever in your community or your local park, or certainly in your home as well. And then there's ABC sandwriting and ABC chalk play. And we're going to look at those a little further on in the presentation. We're going to watch a really great video, again brought to us by the American Library Association, who has again sponsored Read, Write, Sing, and Play. So they provided this video for libraries using the program. And in this, you're going to see children just exploring letters in fun everyday activities in their homes with their families. First of all, you're going to see children playing word games with mom. And she's making breakfast, and she says, today the letter of the day is waffles. Is W. And then, what are they having for breakfast? Waffles. And then she asks them what other things they can think about that start with the letter W. We go on to see children playing with magnetic letters on the refrigerator door. We see them making letters with shaving cream in the bathtub. We see children making letters with Play-Doh. And then, really fun, we see them using their bodies to make letters. And again, all these things give children hands-on experience with getting to know letters, which again builds language connections in the brain because through movement and action, you're making those language connections. So let's go ahead and see the video. Play.
Some of the ways we can play Letter Sound Day at home.
Today's letter is
W.
yes, W. What sound does W make?
What?
That's right. What begins with W?
Waffle. Waffle.
What else begins with W?
Water.
Water. That's right.
All right. Okay, now we're going to look at outdoor play, and we're going to look at sand play. And one of the things I want to mention is that if you don't have a sandbox in your backyard, or not necessarily one in a park, you can use a simple bin to get a bag of sand from Walmart or Home Depot, which is relatively inexpensive, and you can use that to do these activities as well. So we're going to look at an excellent resource from Scholastic, which gives us these different sandbox activities: writing letters in the sand, sand letters, and digging up letters in the sand. And you can Google Scholastic Parents, and you can see under Parents there are many, many different resources. It's an excellent resource, and you'll see as we look at some of these things today. So the first one is simply, again, writing in the sand. And again, if you have a bin and get some sand, again, from a local store and put a little bit of sand in that bin, you can do these activities. So the first one is simply writing letters in the sand. Put a little water in the sand, smooth it down, give your child a stick, and just have them make some letters that are familiar to them. Maybe the letter of their name, their letter of their siblings, their letter of their pet, their letter of their favorite toys. Whenever you are doing learning and you're doing something that's relevant to children, they really, really are much more motivated to do the activity. The second one is sand letters. So here they have an index card, or you could use a small sheet of paper. And then you draw the letter with a marker. Then you put some glue down over the letter that you have just marked. And then you put sand on the letter. And children are able to trace the letter, the sand letter. Again, you're using motion, action, and feeling of the letter to help build language connections in the brain. This one, you can hide some letters in the sand, and you can use magnetic letters, or there are sponges at the dollar store, I think for $1, that you can cut and make sponge letters. And again, you can pick letters that are relevant to children, as well as you always want to also introduce letters to them that aren't relevant, but begin with letters that are relevant. Okay, and then this one, 5 sand signs. So if you put some little children's toys in there, then you can ask their child to make a sign about what they're playing. So for example, the big hill is the sign that's in the sand. And that might have been something that the child came up with. Whatever they come up with, you want to go with that. Okay, now we're going to move on. Right. Okay, now we're going to look outdoor play with chalk, and you can do this on your driveway, on a sidewalk, but probably your driveway is going to be one of the best places to do it, unless a local park has a sidewalk. So we're going to look now at scholastic chalk activities. Okay, so on your own, you can go back and look at some of these activities. We're going to look at 2 of them for younger children, pre-K to 1. So this one, you just write all different kinds of letters on the sidewalk with chalk. And then you give your child a small stick. They throw the stick on the letter. And then you ask your little one what letter the stick landed on or near. And then you brainstorm other words that start with the letter F. And thinking about things in your house that might be relevant to the letter F. And then, of course, adding new words to the child's vocabulary that begin with the letter F. And even when you're drawing the letters, you might, depending on your age of your child, you might start with letters that are familiar to them. With older children, you can write letters that aren't so familiar to children. This one is matching uppercase letters with lowercase letters, and just asking them to make the match, and then talking about this is the big letter, this is the little letter. Okay, and then you can see with older children, then they've even gone into math games. What does it equal? So 2 plus 2, drawing a line up to the 4, 6, 10 minus 4. Again, numbers are also symbols, and this also gives good practice with children using symbols. Okay, now we're going to look at pathways to literacy, and this is a video that sums up many of the different things that we've talked about over the past couple weeks. You're going to see children reading, you're going to see them reading at home, you're going to see them reading at the park, playing with magnetic letters, singing, all these things in ordinary family routines. And
Day in and day out, children experience a world full of early literacy learning opportunities. These opportunities happen in everyday activities and where a child goes and with anyone. Everyday activities take children on pathways to literacy learning, bringing out the very best in children anywhere and everywhere. No matter where a child's steps take him or how his day unfolds, he experiences a world full of literacy learning. No matter where a child goes or what she finds along the way, she discovers a world full of literacy learning. In the familiar surroundings of home, a child's simplest experiences are times of literacy learning. Out in the wider world, everyday learning leads a child on new and exciting literacy adventures. As part of everyday activities, children learn to talk, listen to others, learn about letters and words, and the joys of reading. These are the beginnings of children's early literacy learning. Any place, any time, early literacy learning occurs as part of the familiar events and rituals of a family's life. As children experience day-to-day activities in their communities, they live moments filled with literacy opportunities. Early literacy learning happens with anyone, with parents, with friends, or with teachers. These opportunities are everywhere. Everyday learning transforms the most ordinary activities and events of daily life and fills them with meaning and promise. Children learn about letters and words, books and stories, and have conversations, as well as listen to others throughout their day. The simplest everyday experiences teach children the most powerful lessons, lessons which are the building blocks for reading, writing, and so much more. happiness, excitement, playfulness. Children grow in confidence and ability as part of everyday family and community early literacy learning opportunities.
Okay, now we're going to go on to look at resources and support. So first one we're going to look at is the Sesame Street Language and Literacy. As you know, Sesame Street was on TV for many, many years, and they'll be back out streaming again. But they do have many things on their website, which is excellent and gives you so many resources on all the different things that we've talked about over the past couple weeks. The age focus for Sesame is 0 to 6, and we have early literacy tips, videos, and activities. Okay, so this just takes us to their website. And here they have just Sesame's friend buzzword explains why language is important. And then they have all these language and literacy topics. And I just want to go onto the page so you can just see what some of the resources are. So you see language in everyday moments, everyday conversation cards to get conversations going in ordinary routines like bath time, getting dressed. Have it in Spanish. And then they have all these language and literacy resources that you can go to by age group, by language, by the resource type, and the activity. So resource type, look at all the different things they have. Videos, articles, storybooks, games, webinars. And just go to view all again, just to give you the breadth of everything that's on here. The perfect book to act along a story. So you have make story time more engaging by encouraging children to act out what they hear. And again, here we have all of them in Spanish resources. Okay, I want to go back up. And I want to go to vocabulary. We've talked a lot about vocabulary over the past couple sessions. Go to explore vocabulary. And they have language activity cards, more about language in the brain and how many ways children learn language from 0 to 3, the importance of those brain connections. And then more resources, and then you can see there's some on phonemic awareness, which is, again, we talked about understanding the small parts of words and blending those parts of words. And then here we have also some best practices for teaching phonics skills to young children. So again, a wealth of resources, and also if you just Google Sesame Street, other resources will come up with a whole bunch of things on singing with children. Okay, so now we're going to go back to resources here. And we're going to go back and we're going to look at PBS Kids for Parents Language and Literacy. Their age focus is a little broader, goes up to age 8, which is the end of the early childhood period. And they have activity areas for reading, writing, speaking, and listening, and reading aloud. Got it. Okay, so you can see on this that all of their pages on every topic are set up in the same way. So it goes age 2 through age 8. So let's just look at age 4, and then we'll look at age 7 just to see how the structure is the same, but the activities are, of course, different. So when you pick the age, so example, if your child's 4, when I am 4, and then there's activities for reading, writing, speaking and listening, and reading aloud. I'm just going to pull up the writing one, and here you can see helping your 4-year-old become a writer. And then they just have great ideas for modeling writing, keeping writing materials handy, helping children to make a shopping list. Oh, there's just so much here. We could go on and on. And here again, we have making sand, Play-Doh, and soap letters. Okay, so we're going to go back. And we're going to look at age 7, and we're going to look at writing again. You see it's set up the same way. And then just again, simple ways to build your child's writing skills. Again, modeling writing, keeping materials handy, making time for family writing, and encouraging writing during pretend play. So if you're pretend play grocery store, you could have people bringing their grocery stores or their grocery list to the child's pretend play store. Oh, here's one. Create a nature journal, play word games, or make a book together. And then it just goes on with many more resources and more recommended articles. So PBS Kids for Parents is another wonderful resource for early literacy skill development. So that will end our workshop. Four workshop sessions, and we are so glad that you were able to join us, and we're so glad that you were able to receive the resources and watch the videos with us. We encourage you to check out all the library activities. We have story times, we have baby bookworms, we have music and movement, where we incorporate these ideas into our children's program. So again, Kelly and I thank you again for joining us, and we encourage you to review these videos and resources at your leisure. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Again, lots of great information. And I do want to reiterate, Lisa had kind of already touched on it. There's lots of things that we offer right here at the library that are building those early literacy skills. We have story times, we have baby bookworms, music and movement, we have other literacy programs, we have SLPL Live. And I do just want to show really quickly the website. If you go to slpl.org and if you go to events right here, and then if you just type in story time or whatever you would like to search for, it'll show you all of the story times that we have. You can also filter it by location. You can filter it by event type, all of that. So you can always search our events right there on our website. So, all right. Well, I cannot believe we are here at the end of this workshop. I will say, Lisa and I just want to really thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for watching these. We both really love doing this. We hope that our excitement kind of rubbed off on you a bit as well. So on your screen, you're going to see a QR code for a quick survey. If you're able to scan that and give us some feedback, we would really appreciate it. It will really kind of direct where this workshop will go. And just so you also know, this workshop will also be hosted in the fall and spring. So we're going to try and keep this at a steady, consistent offering. We'll have it in the fall, we'll have it in the spring, and it'll be a live workshop. So it won't just be a recording. So keep a lookout for that. That will be coming soon. All right. Well, that's all we got for you. Again, thank you so much. And we hope to see you at one of our libraries soon.